Hello, my love. Welcome to your weekly forecast for the week of June 1st to the 8th, 2025. This week, we move into June and one of the biggest and best months in the year in the astrology. And we'll get some hints this week about what this whole next year can be about because Mercury moves into Cancer, where it will very soon be joined by Jupiter for the next year. And so this week opens up a door to a very new type of expansion and an even wider perspective of what can be possible for us in our future. So let's get into the highlights of the week. On Monday, we start the week with a first quarter moon in Virgo. So the first quarter moon is the midpoint of the waxing half of the lunar cycle. So this marks 1 week post Gemini new moon. Our Gemini new moon was May 26th, and there's 1 week now until our Sagittarius full moon, which arrives on June 11th. So June 2nd, Monday, is a mini turning point for the Gemini new moon intentions that we set or the seeds that we were planting around May 26th. And at this point in the lunar cycle, we can start to see feedback as we've been taking action to manifest our new moon intentions over a week. And so as we come into this week, we want to look back on what was happening for us, what intentions we were setting under that Gemini new moon. How have our desires changed? How have you changed? And what new directions did this last week put you onto? Now, 1 week from Monday, we will arrive at the full moon in Sagittarius, and at that point, momentum reaches a height, and we can be ready to fully express or share or launch something into the world. And especially with this full moon in Sagittarius, which rules broadcast and publishing, it's definitely a beautiful time to share something with the world. Now, what's interesting about this particular waxing phase of the lunar cycle is that also at this time, the sun is reaching peak power as we approach summer solstice on June 20th. So this month, it's go time. This is our time to express ourselves and show up for our goals and intentions and move things forward in our life. After the 20th, we'll technically be in the dark half of the year, and the sun's power will gradually be starting to wane. So as we come into this new week at the first quarter moon, really check in. What do you want to use this high energy season for in your life? Now, on Friday at 12:42 a.m. ET, Venus enters Taurus until July 4th. And so for the entire month of June, Venus is in her home sign of Taurus, where she can be anchored into her intentions and luxuriate in what feels good. So for most of the year up to this point, Venus has been in Aries, the sign of her detriment, and she was also retrograde for a good chunk of the year up to this point. She was retrograde in Aries and Pisces pretty much all of February and all of March, and she was in Aries debilitated for all of May. So Venus finally in her home sign means that the Venusian parts of our life can start to feel good. Harmony and ease can return to money matters, relationships, and our relationship with our body and how we feel about how we look, beauty and the aesthetic parts of life, entertainment and daily rituals and self-care. Venus in Taurus can just bring a little more enjoyment to what already feels good, and it can bring solutions where they're needed. It can slow down the pace where things may have felt rushed, and it can clarify boundaries where things may have been murky or unclear. Now on Sunday at 4:11 p.m. ET, Mercury will conjoin Jupiter at the very last degrees of Gemini, and then a couple hours later at 6:58 p.m. ET, it will move into Cancer. So Sunday is a turning point that really sets us up for Jupiter in Cancer because Jupiter is already in the final days of its time in Gemini, where it's been for the last year. And Mercury conjoining it is like this moment of understanding what this whole transit has been about for us. It could illuminate what we may have learned about communication, about productivity, about collaboration, being a good friend, an ally. It could amplify the gifts and blessings that we have to take away from this last year of Jupiter in Gemini. Now, right after Mercury conjoins Jupiter, Mercury will then shift into Cancer, where it will be until June 26th. So we really want to notice what news or messages or ideas come up on Sunday evening, because they could in some way hint at what Jupiter in Cancer will usher in for us for the next year. Mercury enters this sign first, but Jupiter will be entering Cancer on Monday, the 9th, which is the next day after Sunday. So the next year pretty much starts here. Mercury in Cancer, soon to be followed by Jupiter, invites us to take an intuitive approach to things. What this sign is really good at is nurturing growth, nurturing the growth of relationships, of projects, of qualities within ourselves. And so we really want to lean into our nurturing qualities starting now, our compassion, our emotional intelligence, and being connected to our heart and our body knowing starting this week. That's what Mercury and Jupiter will reward. Now, next week, Mercury will square Saturn and Neptune. Jupiter will move into Cancer. We have our full moon in Sagittarius. Jupiter will square Saturn, and Mars will square Uranus. Got a busy week coming up next week, and a pretty busy week this week too. And so let's pull some cards to give us some additional tarot messages to take into this next week. The start of something. We have pulled the King of Pentacles, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Two of Wands. Really leaning into our nurturing qualities, starting with our commitment to nurturing ourselves. The King of Pentacles affirms our tried and true ways of doing things. It affirms our own pace and our own timeline, and reminds us that there is no need to rush. With Venus moving into Taurus, I think the pace can slow down in a helpful way, in a way that allows us to go maybe a little bit deeper into the work that we're doing in relationships, the work we're doing in our creative life, in our business, whatever it is. But the King of Pentacles says, root down even more fully into who you are and what you love and what you value, and trust that from that place, so much can be born. So it's not really about thinking about specifically what kind of fruits we want life to yield in the summer. Certainly there is a new horizon that's coming into focus here with the Two of Wands, but the King of Pentacles is sort of asking us to be here now, because I think this week really does set us up for the next year. With the Seven of Pentacles, we are assessing the growth in our life. We're looking at how things are growing, maybe, getting a clear view or perspective on what we've given and what we've received in return, how the seeds, maybe our new moon intentions, have been blossoming and nurturing in our life, and what just isn't the way that we want it to. So this week, we want to feel into refining. We want to trim the fat in our calendars, in our lives, and just focus on pouring into what really just gives back to us to do, to focus on. very Virgo energy. The Seven of Pentacles is sort of like a sort the crops moment where we clear the path, clear the soil of our life to make it even more fertile for what it is we really want to grow. So what is it that you really want to grow? Where attention goes, energy flows. Jupiter is getting active this week, and we want to work with it by investing our focus. The Seven of Pentacles is sort of like a moment where we become aware of maybe where our patience is tested or where things feel a little bit thankless in a way. There's sort of that test kind of energy that comes with the Seven of Pentacles, almost like a kind of frustration maybe that we might feel. And what can help us through, because we are moving through that and on the other side of it this week, certainly. What can help us to move through that, though, is just letting go and kind of like relaxing into Hanged Man energy, surrender, letting go, observing without trying to make anything a certain way, without resisting how we feel, what we notice, what progress we're seeing or what lack of progress we're seeing. We can learn so much this week by just stepping back. Stepping back. It's really exciting to see the Two of Wands come in this week, because here we are, standing on the balcony of our life that we've built, looking out to the horizon, holding the world in our hands, a symbol of our vision for our life. The Two of Wands is kind of fool type energy. It sees us staring out to a vast, great beyond, and also feeling like we have our shit together. This guy's got this little world in his hands and he's so excited about what's to come. So the two kind of brings us into this moment where we notice maybe what we've outgrown a bit and where we're hungry for the next, maybe hungry for adventure, hungry for more of something. What more are you hungry for? Because Jupiter's bringing more of something. So what do you want more of? And what do you want less of? If you don't know, the universe doesn't know. We don't want to rush this week, but we could learn a lot. We could learn a lot. We don't want to get caught in the weeds. We don't want to risk looking inward when there's so much inspiration and helpful information outside of us. But I think we do have some work to do to clear the path for more of what it is we want. It could be a really productive week. Maybe. But the most important thing is that we notice what we don't want to continue to pour energy into specifically, and what we want to really focus on, what we feel so good to focus on. On the root of the deck, we have the Nine of Pentacles. So many pentacles getting grounded. Grounded. The Nine of Pentacles is very independent, very much about self-made success, earned confidence, and freedom. What makes you feel free? And what work have you done already to help yourself to feel free in the ways that you want to feel free? Like the Nine of Pentacles, just so much hard work has gone into the making of this archetype, right? We see this figure just in this flourishing field, enjoying the fruits of their labor. So much work has gone into this point that we've maybe now arrived at in our life. Acknowledge where you're at. And welcome the next step, a next chapter, a next era. It's passionate, it's fiery with the Two of Wands. It's exciting, it's fresh, it's new. The Star is the last card we've pulled. The Star. The Star kind of heralds our new divine assignment, maybe. This is a very spiritual card that kind of suggests our North Star guidance, our purpose, the reason that we came to this earth. Could be some really interesting spiritual learnings that come through this week. Also, maybe a sense of calm after a very active period. Star follows the Tower. Some surrender has already been achieved. Something maybe has already fallen apart. A structure of consciousness. And the Star says, here, the divine can take it from here. Let the divine lead the way and follow the signs. Follow the breadcrumbs, one at a time. 2, the growth and potential and absolute abundance of this next year. There we go, my love. That is what I have for you this week. I hope you enjoyed this weekly forecast, and I will talk to you next week.